Good morning, I'm Jim Shroyer, host of That's My Farm, and we're in luck because we're going to be talking about agricultural research. And we're on location on the agronomy farm north of Manhattan here, visiting with Dr. Ernie Minton, who is the Associate Director of Research, Kansas State University Research and Extension. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the value of that research that K-State and the various experiment stations are going to be conducting across the state. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning, folks. I'm Jim Shroyer, host of That's My Farm, and today we're in luck because we have Dr. Ernie Minton with us, and Ernie is the Associate Director of Research, K-State Research and Extension. And Ernie's been with us, he's been on campus now since 1983, and he's been Associate Director of Research for a few years now, probably close to 5 now. So, Ernie, tell us what the Kansas Ag Experiment Station does, the land grant mission, and a little bit about that. So,
sure, Jim. Last year, K-State celebrated its 150th year of existence. And it came into existence because of the passage of a key piece of legislation, the Morrill Act of 1862. And
President Lincoln signed that, if I recall.
That's correct. And so that established the Land Grant University Network across the United States. And Kansas was established the very next year in 1863 as the Land Grant University in the state of Kansas. And you know, just to paraphrase sort of what that did is it made higher education available to, I think the legislation says, the industrial classes. To that point, only kind of the elite individuals had access to higher education.
Right.
And this legislation made higher education available to you know, a more common class of folks, and it in particular spelled out that part of that work should be directed towards agriculture. And that's really what sets us apart from other state schools, KU, Wichita State, etc. We have that mission that was established by that passage of that first piece of federal legislation, and others followed.
Right, so really it's a kind of a contest between what K-State, Iowa State, Minnesota. I think they all claim that we're the very first land grant school, so I think it's all kind of all about the same time.
Yeah, it depends upon you know, who defines which was first and how do you define it. We have a claim to that as well. I think we are the first land grant university chartered following the passage of the Morrill Act. But yeah, Iowa State and to a certain degree Michigan State have some sort of claim on that as well, and it's kind of a fun thing that we that we talk about between schools, and that's okay.
So I think you hit a good point. Education, at least higher education, it was definitely for the upper class, and now and at that time too, what I don't know, 50-60% of the population was involved in agriculture, and so this was this was to get that middle class, or like you said, the industrial class involved in higher education.
Yeah, that's right, and and it started small with Bluemont College, and then kind of grew from there. And of course now there's a land grant university, even more land grant universities than just in the 50 states, because there are various types of land grant universities. But the so-called 1862s that were established by the Morrill Act, K-State is one of those. Yeah. And it wasn't very long when teachers in the classroom began to realize that new material was needed, and that new innovation in agricultural production, livestock and crops was needed. And that second piece of legislation in 1887, the Hatch Act came about, which established the second mission for the Land Grant University, and that established the agricultural experiment stations. You mentioned that in your intro.
Well, let me stop you right there. We're kind of leading into research, and don't go away. We'll talk about research here in a second. Folks, you at home, stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. And folks, if you weren't here a second ago, we have Dr. Ernie Minton, who is the Associate Director of Research at Kansas State University, Research and Extension. And Ernie, we were just kind of getting into the types of research. We talked a little bit about the formation of land-grant schools, which K-State is one. And we started talking a little bit about the research. So, as being the Associate Director of Research, you know, I'll let you have full reign here.
Okay, so we I'd say at K-State have kind of the traditional portfolio of research activity that's related to agriculture and natural resources to some degree, and forestry, recreational resources, and so on. And those sort of buckets of research kind of fit within our academic departments. So, for example, your department, agronomy, houses a good deal of the crops research and at least agronomic crops. Our horticulture department has you know, some fruits and vegetable work and floriculture, that sort of thing.
Right.
Animal sciences, the title sort of says it, animal sciences and industry.
Of course, that really breaks down into a bunch of, you know, swine nutrition, ruminant nutrition. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, within the Department of Animal Sciences and Industry, there's of course beef cattle, and as you mentioned, subdisciplines under that, the nutrition, the physiology, and then the post-harvest side, the meat side of things as well. Dairy cattle, poultry, horses, and so on. We also have a very unique department here at K-State, the Grain Science Department,
right,
which you know, really I think fits very well with certainly the history of wheat in the state, the milling industry, and sort of the post-harvest value-added pieces that go with that department. And it's broader than wheat, but
sure,
it's very unique as well.
And then you have underneath that we have the milling science,
exactly,
and we're just right over there. So
milling, baking. We've got the economists as well that kind of help us, you know, kind of look at the value of things that integrate with a lot of different departments. And of course, the entomologists remind us of pests that can affect
plant pathology.
Exactly, plant pathology, very, very strong department in the college as well. So we've got, you know, that breadth. I didn't mention communications, but
sure,
we're doing something that sort of relates to that particular piece of our college as well. So right, we have a wide variety of research areas that we work in here at K-State.
Right, okay, stay with us, and we'll be right back, and you folks at home, stay with us, we'll be back as well.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, it's Dr. Dan from Doc Talk and Ag AM in Kansas, and that's my farm. Be sure to stop in and join us at the Kansas State Fair. We're going to be down there, we're going to be walking around, we're going to be in the birthing center. Join us, come say hi, we can't wait to see you.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Folks, welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Shroyer, your host, and with me I have Dr. Ernie Minton, Associate Director of Research at K-State. And we're standing, obviously after wheat harvest here in July, and wheat's the #1 crop in the state, acres-wise, and beef cattle. That's a big commodity in the state as well. So, trying to relate research to commodities, how do we stack up? Are we doing research? We were joking a second ago on papaya, or what are we doing our research on related to the commodities?
Well, I'm proud to say, Jim, that we have, I think, $0 spent last year on papaya research.
Okay.
And so maybe
now, I like papayas. For those papaya growers,
Yeah,
I do like papayas.
That's right. So somebody's doing that, and it's important stuff.
It's California.
But at K-State, we're focused on things that are really relevant to the state, we hope, and I think we are. If you look at the 2012 Census of Agriculture, which just actually came out, Kansas is 15-16 billion, depending upon whose report you look at.
Right.
And about 2/3 of that is livestock, and about 1/3 crops. And a good deal of that livestock value is found in beef cattle, and a good deal of that is found in the beef cattle feeding sector in the southwest part of the state.
Right.
And so, we do a lot of beef cattle research, and it accounts for maybe 10 or 12% of our total research expenditures in the experiment station annually. We do a lot of wheat research, as you know, and of course that has obvious links to things that make a difference for Kansas producers as well. But things that are related, that are kind of disguised, and we have to report these back to the feds, is, we report water research, and as you know, the Ogallala is a key...
Diminishing. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it's a key sort of value of agricultural production in the southwest part of the state, northwest part of the state. So we have to be concerned with crops that are water use efficient and so on. So part of our breeding programs have that as one of the traits that's built in. So
yeah, we're talking about western third to western half of the state are short on water year in and year out.
Right, that's right. And so we're doing things related to water that relate to crops, and of course there are insects, insect pests, and other kinds of disease pests of wheat, soybeans, and other crops that are relevant to the state. So that's, in a broad sense, the kind of work we do in the experiment station.
Right. Now hang on here, we'll be right back, and we're going to talk some more, and you folks at home will be right back as well. Thank you.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production. Hey folks, Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. If you miss us on Monday morning, you can join us at 6:30 a.m. every Sunday morning on RFD TV. Doc Talk has a national following. We're sure glad that you joined us on Mondays, but if you miss us and you want to catch us out on a Sunday morning, get up at 6:30 a.m. and we'll be right there, RFD TV, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll see you down the road.
National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand Ag Professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank, money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Shroyer, the host, and with us we have Dr. Ernie Minton. And Ernie, we were talking about research a while ago and the importance of water and the aquifer out west being depleted. And you know, an example of some of this research that you were talking about is right behind us here, which is a rainout shelter, and we have wheat planted. It's almost ready to be harvested. But you know, what that rainout shelter is we basically once it senses moisture, it comes up over the plots and it keeps the rain out, and we can find lines that are more tolerant to less water. And so, you know, this is kind of an example of some research that's, you know, down the road a ways. So probably what everybody wants to know is, what is the value of the research that K-State does? I know that's kind of a tough question, but we have some examples.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really important question for the viewers. We're a public institution, right, so there are both federal and state public dollars invested in our work, and so yes, it's a fair question. So what is the value? And the people who are expert in those areas have over the years established routinely that the value is at least double digits to one. You put down $1, you get at least 10 back, but often it's even more than that. For example, we've done work right here at K-State looking at how the investment in wheat variety development pays off. Over $17 for every dollar invested.
So let's see if I got the math right here. $1 million invested would return $17 million to the state economy. Putting it in millions.
That's correct. And so the other thing that's a little tricky is but that payoff doesn't come back the next year, and it may not come back the year after that. But we have to talk about payoff in ag research and development over decades. And you're aware of this, but our viewers may not be. The time between, we're speaking of wheat, so keeping on that wheat theme, when a wheat breeder makes a cross, over a decade elapses between the time that cross is made and the time our growers have the opportunity to put it in the field.
Right.
And so the dollars we invest today, the state invests today, the federal government invests today, may have a payoff 10, 12, 15 years down the road.
Right, well, you just mentioned Everest, the variety that's the #1 wheat in the state right now, K-State wheat. Its cross was, what, 1997, something like that?
1997.
And here we are in 2014, 17 years later, and there's the payoff.
Exactly. So it's paying off wheat growers in local communities, implement dealers, farm chemical dealers, and so on, are indirectly reaping the benefits of that research as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Ernie. We'll be right back, and you folks at home, stay right where you are.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome. That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back, folks, to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Shroyer, and our guest today is Dr. Ernie Minton, Associate Director of Research at Kansas State Research and Extension. And you know, we're in Manhattan today, and a lot of work is done here. Animal science, all the groups, agronomy, all the groups that go into the College of Ag are here in Manhattan. But I know our department, we have experiment fields, a few scattered around the state. But let's talk about experiment stations, and you know, the reason because of the wide distribution of moisture. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about that.
You bet. So yeah, just to talk about the Manhattan location a little bit, I think the federal legislation, that Hatch Act that we mentioned early on, talks about and uses the term agricultural experiment station. And so when we say that, people don't know exactly what we mean. Yes, it does mean Manhattan.
Or a location, yeah, but not necessarily.
Right, that's right, that's right. So yeah, we're home based here in Manhattan. The students are here, obviously, and that's the teaching function and so on. So this is our central location, but we have fields and livestock units and so on that are fairly close to campus, and I might say, as land-grant universities go, we're very fortunate to have so many facilities so close to campus.
Right.
But that's not where, as you pointed out, we're not limited to Manhattan. Agronomy does have experimental fields at various areas that are reasonably close, but we expand across the state as well.
Well, what in the last minute or so here, what do you think is the direction of agricultural research here in the state? And you could address the nation as well. Where are we headed?
Well, I think that you know, USDA and other groups put out these talk about these grand challenges, and certainly in the big sense, land-grant universities are going to contribute to feeding that $9+ billion in 2050, and every university, every land-grant university, and K-State being a part of that, is going to contribute things that make sense for their place and their location. And so I would say our future is we're going to continue to do the things that we do very well and we know well. We're going to continue to do beef cattle, we're going to continue to do wheat, we're going to continue to do grain sorghum, and that doesn't mean we're going to ignore things.
Exactly.
But we have to focus on, you know, federal dollars and state dollars and even grant dollars from companies are tough. So we need to be working on things that make a difference to our state and a difference to the economy and the producers in the state.
Ernie, I want to thank you for taking time to have us interview you about K-State research, and really appreciate it. And folks, thanks for being with us, and stay tuned next Friday, and you can see another episode of That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.